tastes like this sure is sweet.
It's great, doesn't it?
Alright guys, so it's been over a week since Yeat dropped his album Lifestyle, which, you know, everyone's been waiting for, especially his more rap-centric fans, I guess you could say. And without even saying anything else in this video, it was definitely somewhat of like a return to form for Yeat. Not trying to like, actually I don't care if that pisses off some Yeat fans. And while I did enjoy this album, I liked it a lot, I still think there's some problems with it. So first of all, let's go over the sales. Or actually, let's not go over them. Let me just tell you what's good with them. So Yeat was projected to sell 90 to 100K with about 40K pure sales. So like y'all went crazy. And it debuted with 89,000 first week sales and 60,000 pure sales, meaning it did around like 29,000 like sales from streaming, which I'm not gonna lie is good. It's really good, but it's not that crazy. Anyways, I'm gonna get into that later. Before I get into that, I want to get into the actual album itself. So first of all, if you listen to this album, it's all like very rap-y. There's nothing else. It's pretty much just that. It doesn't really stray away from it. It does a little bit, like songs on like Forever Again. There's another one, I forget the name, but it's really just all like rap. If you found it on Life, you probably wouldn't have been tripping. If you found it on like Two Alive, you probably would have like, okay, it would have kind of fit. So you get what I'm saying? And I would say there's one main reason, or two reasons. Obviously, it's Yeat's personal choice to, you know, it was how he wanted this to go. And secondly, you know, it's also because his producer, Benny X, was not on this album. I think someone asked him on Twitter and he said he was like making too many folk beats or something. I'm not even joking, like it was something like that. So this entire album was executive produced by this guy named Synthetic, who did a lot of Yeat's like big songs early on. Shout out to him for continuing to, you know, work with his day one prod. And yeah, that's kind of why you get this sound from him on most of the album. Now let's get into the actual quality of the tracks. So first of all, I would say Yeat does a really good job on all of his albums of like just starting off strong. Like, you know, in Afterlife with No More Talk, where it's just like the beat just hit immediately, like, oh, this is Yeat. Immediately in Lifestyle, Geek Time started playing. I was like, oh, this is Yeat. You know what I mean? I would say the only time it didn't happen was 2093, ironically. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't know, whenever I think of like a Yeat album beginning, I always think of like Blackboy Max's reactions to shit, where like he'll play like a second of the beat and be like, ah, like, it was like, alright bro, like obviously he's just a big fan, but it's just funny to me. And the intros Yeat picks do have a say in like how that goes. Other than that, you know, it was just a cool album, you know. One thing you'll notice if you're like a bigger Yeat fan is he's not really rapping like the Rents do, you know. He's comfortably rapping. Hyperpop Daily, he made like this analogy on his story that's honestly like very it's very good. He called it like, I forgot what he said. He said like tummy full versus not tummy full. Basically he was just saying like, yo, when rappers are hungry, they just rap. You know, it's like a known thing, you know. The music hits harder when you know the rapper is starving, alright? Like, and you know, while Yeat did rap his ass off on some of this shit, it's not like before, you know what I mean? He's not, also another thing, you may have caught this, what I said that a lot of these songs could have been on Afterlife, Life, or like Two Alive, or, you know, maybe even Up to Me. Like the costs, that could have been on Up to Me easily. So it's not that he's regressing, it's just this album kind of marked his lack of progression. At this point, he's just maintaining the sound. You know what I mean? That was another thing I noticed. I also want to talk about the rollout. I think the rollout for this album was very, very, very good. He really like played a great line between, you know, being mysterious and saying enough. You know, he announced it. He made sure everyone knew it was coming out, etc. He did some cool marketing with like, yeah, they destroyed a supercar. They did like, they lit the cornfields up. You know, they did some cool shit. The billboards, not the billboards, the bus signs with like the go to work music video assets were cool with like, that was cool. I mean, the feature, I wanted to talk about that too with Summers was also really cool. It's like, yo, you know, it's kind of paying homage to the scene that Yeat kind of came from. Not saying that Summers made him, but you know, like, yo, he's still with them. I would say that the Kodak Black feature, I guess, was cool. The Lil Durk the feature on Lifestyle was also cool. I didn't think he was needed though. I think Yeat just puts people he so it's very clear. I'll give you an example. I know you guys probably didn't listen to this, but Glorilla dropped an album, and a big critique that a lot of people have was like, yo, why'd you put so many features? Honestly, it's like a streaming thing, but obviously he doesn't really need it or need to chase it like that. But yeah, that's probably what affected it. But anyways, I will say, I listen to albums like super ADHD. Like, I don't really know. Like, it just doesn't matter who you are. I just can't get through a 22 song album, like front to back, no pauses. Like, I'll like listen to a song, get stuck in my head, and I'll just move through it. And I will say, like, a lot of these songs ended up going in my likes for like a lot of them. They're just all good. You know what I mean? Not all of them, but a lot of them. And honestly, as a Yeat fan, that's all I really wanted. Now, overall, what I would rate this, I would give this a 7. Only, you gotta understand, I'm rating this from like a critiques kind of perspective, like a more critical lens than, just me as a fan. I just don't think he pushed the boundaries enough, you know what I mean? That's it. Anyways, let's move on to the sales stuff. So first of all, it debuted with 89,000 first week sales, and 60,000 of them were pure sales, meaning he sold vinyls. I think he signed a couple, he did merch, all of that, and you add digital albums and all that, and that amounted to 60k sales. Number one, not any people always like to say like, yo, he cheated, he used bundles, but not anybody can do bundles. Of course, back in the day they were doing like the clothing brand method, like the V-Loan method was going crazy back in the day. Like Nav abused the out of that shit. But this is really just the artist's own merch, and you need to have a really strong fan base to do this. I believe Academics made a tweet where he said, yo, Yeat selling this is huge. Like Yeat fans, there aren't like a huge amount of them, but the ones that with them just really with them, they just really rock with them. So that's their two. But at the end of the day, he only did 29k streaming, and when I say only, that's still huge. But it's like, dang, what if the bundles weren't as much? It wouldn't have sold that crazy, you know what I mean? And let me try and like explain why. The first thing you gotta understand is Yeat, as much as everyone wants to say like he did go crazy on his own, but a lot of it was TikTok. Let's be real, you know what I mean? It was TikTok motion. And even with Lifestyle, as hated as that album was, and as controversial, I guess you could say it was, it still had Breathe, and it had that other song that went crazy on TikTok. And they both kind of went crazy like immediately, almost. Like Breathe just went off. So that was adding a lot of daily streams and just streaming numbers to the album, I believe. First week, Breathe. But even that album really didn't really have any like hits. I think that Yeat just did not have a hit song to like carry the streaming numbers on this album. I just think he did 22 songs and that was enough. Now, last time what he did was he released the deluxe the same week. If he did release the deluxe the same week, he probably would have hit 100k. It probably would have been more streaming, but I think it just wasn't worth it for him. You know what I mean? I think that's enough. That's what he probably thought. Of course, by the way, went number one, and talking said all we do is go number one. Went number one on Billboard. It's huge for him, really. But core fans in his like Twitter community were like, yo, like he's not getting as many daily streams as he was before. Now the reason for this is because TikTok songs, that was probably helping. It was probably just Breathe and that one other song, I forget the name. It was like If We Being Real or some shit. That went crazy on TikTok. That song's good, by the way. That's probably helping it. That's really it. But I already explained, I think, what the whole thing was. Also, if you compare, Spotify is like a really good platform to, and by the way, labels can bot the out of Spotify easily, so I may just be totally missing the mark and some shit might be botted. But if you look at the likes on, and I hate to do this on I said Ian's name, I don't know, my brain is fried today, on Yeat's album review. If you look at the likes between Yeat's album and Ian's album, it's 4 times more. Honestly, I would have expected it to be like 6 or 8 or even like 10 times more, but I don't know. I think a lot of people were just tuning in on both their shit, to be real. Yeat was definitely very happy. I rolled this video of him and like Zach Bia celebrating. It was like kind of like a meme. They're recreating this one video from this guy named Jack Harlow and Drewski. They did like this. There's like this older video of them where they're like, "Life really is good, huh? But this sure is sweet, right?" And Yeat's got his like evil laugh in this. It's funny. It's cool. Other than that, I've also noticed that Yeat definitely got like a lot more respect after this album. I feel like people finally were like, yo, okay, he's here to stay. I think before, he was like, at first it was like, oh, he can sell some units. It's like, oh shit, what the 50k? And then it was like, all right, 2093, this isn't really like a rap album, it's too experimental, this and that. And now he's like, okay, kind of solidified himself. So there's that. It also shows to me that Yeat has like a really strong global audience, and I'm not even just coping as like a fan or anything. It's just true, you know, like because he definitely got more than 29k sales just off. But I guess that's how sales always works. It's just US. I'm also, of course, very interested in what he does next. I feel like after this album, he does have to like push his sound. You know, he's got to do something. I feel like Yeat is in a very interesting position because it's like fans still want him to do something different, but they still want it to be like comfortable. It has to be like 5% different or something, like just a little different, like 10, you know, it can't be too different or else they'll get turned off, like with 2093. I'll give you an example of another artist who's I'm actually gonna do a video before his album drops too, Uzi. I feel like with Uzi, you know, he's used to being like this, oh man, you know, he's the trendsetter, he's doing this and that, but at this point in his career, I think fans are just comfortable with him dropping whatever like he's good at. I think he has a hard time like understanding that or accepting that, so he tries to like be too different and shit up. So, you know, I don't think Yeat should do that, but definitely interested in what he does. And the other thing I will say too is I don't know how to explain it in very lucid terms, but sometimes you listen to an album and I'll be like, okay, everything sounds the same, blah, blah, blah. But like when you listen to certain artists, it's like, oh shit, you know, it has a very like similar like set of production, but it fits, you know, it's good. I guess it's just, you know, I'm a fan of Yeat, but also I do think the album had like a theme to it. It didn't really like stray away from anything, which is cool. It wasn't just a bunch of songs put together. It was just like Yeat rapping like 22 tracks straight. You know what I mean? That's also another interesting thing to me. Like some, like if you can like look up critiques of albums. Like I've seen this before, like for like years. Like people will be like, yo, like they'll be like, the artist worked with this many producers, had no like, you know, matching sound. But I feel like that's just how the internet works these days. Like artists just get beats on email. Like I don't know, like are they gonna, not everyone's gonna lock in with like a Pierre or in-house, you know. But yeah, that's kind of it. I think Yeat definitely did something huge, you know. I think 4 years ago he was a nobody. 3 years ago he was, you know, kind of going up there. 2 years ago he was like, oh shit. I was like, wow, he's number one, you know. But yeah, I will say though that he was dropping an album of this caliber like once every quarter at one point in his career, you know. So just something to think about. Another thing as well is I don't really see this album being spoken about a lot. You get what I'm saying? Like I've noticed recently albums are just coming and going. Like Pink Tape just came and went. Like a new Uzi tape song, like album's already coming. It's like, what? Like bro, that might just be like a time thing for me, but it's like, holy shit. I feel like, I don't know why, whenever like artists like Cardi or Uzi drops, I always think it's gonna be like 3-4 years till they drop again. So I guess my brain is just like tripping. Like I should have like had more time to process it. But anyways, I'm straying from what I was saying. Great album by Yeat. Not insane though. It could have been, you know what I mean? It's just great. It's just good. That's what I would say. Let me know if you disagree. We should take more risks. Let me know if I'm tripping, you know. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.